Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into a piece of history that honestly plays out like a deeply cinematic and profoundly moving epic. We're going to explore a story of ultimate sacrifice, staggering resilience, and unyielding faith in the face of absolute tyranny. This is the saga of the four Sahibzade, the four beloved sons of the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh. It's a monumental narrative that genuinely shaped the course of history in the 17th century, and it gives us a powerful window into what true, unwavering courage actually looks like.
Think about this for a second. What kind of unshakable resolve does it actually take for one single family to willingly face the mightiest empire in the world and just completely refuse to bow down? To really understand the extreme emotional and physical stakes of the conflict we're about to unpack, we have to grasp that this wasn't just some standard political battle. It was a fundamental clash between an oppressive imperial power and the absolute right to spiritual and human freedom.
Section 1. The Gathering Storm, Anandpur Sahib.
You know, before the brutal sieges and those freezing towers, there was actually a time of real peace, preparation, and profound learning. Anandpur Sahib was this thriving haven of equality established by the Khalsa. Here, the four Sahibzade, Baba Ajit Singh, Baba Jujar Singh, Baba Zorawar Singh, and Baba Fateh Singh, grew up in an idyllic, yet rigorously disciplined environment. These young boys weren't just playing around, they were joyfully mastering complex spiritual scriptures in multiple languages, while at the same time becoming highly skilled in martial arts, swordsmanship, and horseback riding. It's such a stark, poignant contrast between their innocent youth and the immense, terrifying responsibilities they were about to face.
But of course, that peace couldn't last. The growing power and the egalitarian message of the Khalsa absolutely terrified the surrounding empires, which led directly to the brutal siege of Anandpur. We're talking about a massive joint assault launched by Mughal imperial forces and the local hill Rajas. This siege dragged on for 6 agonizing months. Conditions inside the fort became so severe, with starvation so rampant, that 40 desperate Sikhs actually renounced their faith and deserted the Guru. Eventually, the besieging armies offered a truce. To guarantee safe passage if the Guru evacuated the fort, the Mughal commanders swore solemn oaths on the Quran, and the hill Rajas swore on the sacred cow.
Section 2. Betrayal and the Flooded Sarsa.
So, picture this. It's midnight. Trusting those sworn oaths, the evacuation of Anandpur Sahib peacefully begins. But then, in the pre-dawn hours, the Mughal armies and hill Rajas completely betray their vows. They launch a massive, cowardly attack from right behind them. By morning, amidst a fierce rearguard battle, the Guru's followers find themselves trapped against the raging, flooded waters of the Sarsa River. The sheer chaos of this moment is palpable. Rising waters, raining arrows. It's just absolute devastation.
Right in the middle of that blinding chaos at the river crossing, the Guru's family is violently split apart in what became known as the Great Separation. The Guru and his 2 elder sons, Baba Ajit and Baba Jujar, somehow managed to cross, eventually heading towards a mud fortress in Chamkor. Meanwhile, the 2 youngest sons, along with their grandmother, Mata Gudri, were separated from the main group. They sought shelter with a former servant, unknowingly walking straight into the hands of a traitor. And the tragic reality here? This deeply loving family would never be reunited on Earth.
Section 3. The Mud Fortress, Battle of Chamkor.
While the younger children were led away, the elder group is facing an immediate, legendary, and completely disproportionate military clash. The odds here are just staggering. We are talking about exactly 42 exhausted Sikh warriors alongside Guru Gobind Singh, taking shelter in a simple, unfortified mud dwelling, and pursuing them, a massive Mughal army numbering in the hundreds of thousands. It required sheer, unimaginable martial bravery for a handful of men to defend a fragile mud fort against a literal sea of imperial soldiers.
As the Mughal forces swarmed the fortress, the elder son stepped up with immense courage. Baba Ajit Singh actually requests permission from his father to enter the battlefield, and his words were, "I will not return alive. Grant me your blessing, Guru Father." Knowing full well that it was a suicide mission, both the elder sons, Baba Ajit Singh and subsequently Baba Jujar Singh, stepped right out of that fortress to face the vast army.
And they fought with sheer ferocity. The elder Sahibzade displayed unparalleled skill, inflicting massive casualties on the completely stunned Mughal army before finally falling in battle and achieving heroic martyrdom. Following this devastating loss, the surviving Sikhs, acting as the Panch Pyare or the 5 beloved ones, utilized their democratic authority within the Khalsa. They commanded Guru Gobind Singh to leave the fort under the cover of darkness, ensuring the ultimate survival of the Panth.
Section 4. The Cold Tower, steadfast at Sirhind.
Now the story shifts, both geographically and emotionally. We move from the kinetic energy of physical warfare at Chamkor to a chilling, agonizing battle of spiritual warfare. Remember that servant we mentioned earlier? His name was Gungu. Tempted by the promise of mere coins, Gungu betrayed Mata Gujri and the two youngest sons to the local Mughal governor, Wazir Khan. To break their spirit, the grandmother and the young boys were imprisoned in the Thanda Burj, an open-air cold tower. They were kept up there in the dead of winter, without warm clothes, beds, or even adequate food, subjected to freezing, relentless winds.
Just put yourself in that scene for a moment. How did two little boys, Baba Zorawar Singh, barely 9, and Baba Fateh Singh, barely 7 years old, how did they face the full, terrifying might of Wazir Khan's imperial court? They were brought before the governor, fully aware that their elder brothers had already been killed in battle.
Wazir Khan unleashes this brutal psychological warfare to try and force the children to convert to Islam. Step 1, he starts with sweet words. He offers them unimaginable royal wealth, palaces, and comforts if they would just abandon their faith. When they flat out refused, he moved to step 2, terrifying threats of brutal torture and imminent death. But the boys still stood firm, unmoved by either greed or fear. So Wazir Khan resorted to step 3, securing a cruel execution order, a fatwa, from the local qazi.
You really have to wonder, where do kids that young find such strength? Well, they looked Wazir Khan in the eye and said, "We will not bow. If our grandfather could give his head to save a religion, we too can give ours." They were directly drawing their strength from the martyrdom of their grandfather Guru Tegh Bahadur, who had sacrificed his own life years earlier to protect the religious freedom of Kashmiri Pandits. This incredible legacy of resilience was quite literally in their blood.
The climax of this tragedy is just completely heartbreaking. In a rare moment of protest from within the court, the Nawab of Malerkotla actually walked out, openly declaring that killing innocent children was against the tenets of his religion and basic humanity. But Wazir Khan ignored him. The young Sahibzade absolutely refused to yield, and as a result, they were mercilessly bricked alive inside a wall. They accepted a supreme, unparalleled martyrdom rather than compromise their deeply held beliefs.
After this unspeakable tragedy, a wealthy, devoted follower named Todar Mal stepped up. He sought to cremate the bodies of the young boys and their grandmother, who had passed away from the shock in the cold tower. But Wazir Khan cruelly decreed that Todar Mal could only have the land if he covered the entire required area with gold coins, standing perfectly on their edge. Todar Mal paid this staggering, unprecedented price, which just goes to show the immense love and reverence the followers had for the Guru's family.
Section 5. Retribution and an Eternal Legacy.
5. That's the exact number of years it took for historical justice to arrive. Exactly 5 years after these atrocities, a fierce warrior named Banda Singh Bahadur arrived in the region, and he brought with him the full, uncompromising wrath of the Khalsa.
Banda Singh Bahadur unleashed incredibly swift justice, systematically dismantling Wazir Khan's power. Sirhind was conquered, which entirely shattered the Mughal grip on the region. Wazir Khan was defeated in battle and executed. The executioners who built the wall and the corrupt qazi who issued the fatwa against the children, they were all slain. And finally, the Khalsa flag was raised over the city of Sirhind, bringing a crucial sense of closure to the atrocities committed against the Guru's family.
And you know, this downfall was widely seen as the fulfillment of a prophecy. When Guru Gobind Singh heard the news of his young son's cruel deaths, he used his arrow to uproot a small shrub from the earth. As he pulled it up, he declared, "The days of the Mughal Empire can now be counted on fingers." The immense cruelty inflicted on those innocent children sealed the spiritual and historical fate of the empire, which slowly crumbled over the next century.
As we wrap up this explainer, we're left to really ponder the monumental weight of these events. Will history ever witness a greater example of courage, faith, and ultimate sacrifice than that of the four Sahibzade? From the mud walls of Chamkor to the freezing bricks of Sirhind, their story is a staggering testament to the power of unwavering resolve. It's a deeply moving legacy that challenges us to consider what we value most in our own lives and what we would be willing to endure to protect it. Thanks for joining me on this journey through history, and keep seeking out the stories that truly shape our world.